This is Danah Artis with Legacy Impact Coaching and Consulting. And thanks for joining me today. We are going to be talking about responses to our spouses in conversation. So I have a question for you. Do you often have a harsh response when your spouse says something maybe that you don't like? They don't say it in the right tone. Maybe you don't agree with what they're saying, or maybe it's not totally accurate. Think of your response as kerosene, depending on how you respond. If you pour kerosene on a fire, it actually explodes, right? So if your spouse says something with an attitude, your spouse may say something that you don't necessarily like, your response is going to dictate how that conversation ends. So if you pour kerosene on it with a harsh response, a brutal response, a response with an attitude, you are going to start a fire. And what happens is over time, that fire in your home, which we'll talk as marriage, will actually destroy it. And we've seen it a lot of times, and it's very sad. And the bad thing about it is that it impacts more than just you and your spouse. My grandmother's house burned down. And it wasn't totally to the ground, it was contained, but there was a lot of damage. And the majority of the damage came from smoke. The fire never hit certain pieces of furniture, but they were destroyed because the smoke damage, they weren't replaceable. And guess who is impacted by smoke damage? Your children. If your children are around or in the home when you have this blow up conversation, a heated conversation, they are actually being impacted by smoke damage. And it is impacting them emotionally. And it's also teaching them how to operate in their relationships when they grow up. Communication really is a learned behavior. And the way that you were raised is actually how you learn to communicate. So basically, if you can see, there's a cycle that is beginning to take place. And if you don't get help, actually communication is destroying marriages at a monumental rate. We talk about the reasons for divorce a lot of times, like an affair, adultery, money. But if you really look at the root cause and not just the reason, it can be traced back to some sort of gap in communication. And my husband and I, who is also part of Legacy Impact Coaching and Consultant, we both have degrees in communication, so we've studied this a lot. And we know that you can learn a new way to communicate, and you can actually save your marriage and begin to operate in peace in your home if you just learn new ways of communicating with your spouse. How do you know if your house is on fire upstairs while you're downstairs? You have a smoke alarm, right? And you're in the middle of life, kids, raising kids, taking them to soccer practice, doing this and doing that, that sometimes you may not be aware of a fire that's brewing in your home. And what I want to do is I want to alert you of some smoke alarm, things that are going to set off the smoke alarm in your communication. If you have silent treatments in your home, then your smoke alarm should be going off. There's a fire that's brewing in your home. If you're going to bed mad at each other, that's another issue. If you have slamming doors, slamming cabinets, you huffing and puffing and leaving the room. If you say spiteful things to one another, you know it's mean, but you're just saying it because you've been hurt. Now you're trying to make that person hurt. Then that is also going to cause that smoke alarm to go off. If you are bringing up things from the past continually, that too is a sign that your smoke alarm is going off. If any of those things are you or your spouse, it's time to get help. We have an amazing program. It's called the Communication Renovation Program. We have taken the steps and we have consolidated it in an 8-week program that will take you and your spouse step by step. You actually will get one-on-one coaching with us. We call it couple coaching, so that you have a male and a female with you, and we have a perspective from each, and we will help you. We will assess your current communication style. We will look at the triggers. We will look at how to actually complement one another. We will learn how to adjust your communication style and your skills so that you can actually communicate better. We will also help you manage conflict because it's going to be inevitable. You're going to get in fights. You're going to have disagreements. That's never going to go away. But how you handle them will actually help you have a more peaceful and pleasant relationship. I'm going to put a link in the description box. You can click that. You can get in touch with us. You can start a free assessment to see where you guys are and how we can help you. And this program is 8 weeks. So within less than 90 days, you could actually be changing the dynamics of your whole entire family, not just you and your husband, but your children and even your grandchildren, because that's what we do here at Legacy Impact. We are looking to build legacies of healthy, happy homes, and we want to help you have the same thing. So if this is you, if you know communication is a problem in your relationship, let us help you change that.